Namaste. My name is Henry Jolicoeur. I'm a French-Canadian hypnotherapist that has worked with thousands of clients. And my special field of interest and study is brainwashing and mind control by cult. This is an interest of mine because 50 years ago, I believe I was completely brainwashed in the Hare Krishna movement. Today, I would like to give my comments on a documentary called KRISHNAS, Guru, Karma, and Murder. This documentary focuses on the person of Kirtanananda that you see here. His legal name was Kirtan. He was a prolific pedophile and a psychopath. I'd like to start by saying that I knew Kirtanananda. In 1970, Swami Bhaktivedanta asked me to help him open an Hare Krishna center in Calcutta, India. And at the time, Kirtanananda was there in that house. We were about only 10 or so devotees, all men. And Kirtanananda had decided to start a program where he would invite 15, 20 boys from the neighborhood, from 6 to 10-year-old. He would give them food, and he would also give them showers. And while naked, he would gawk at them and look at them in a lustful way. So me and my friend at the time, Tamal Krishna, who knew very well the sexual history of Kirtanananda, we were scandalized. We went to see Swami Bhaktivedanta and we told him that this program should be stopped, for the neighborhood will think that this house is run by pedophile. And Swami Bhaktivedanta at the time did understand, and he stopped that program. I have read all about Kirtan, reading the books of Henry Doktovsky that you see here. After reading all of his books, I decided this year to go in Vrindavan, India to film the so-called Samadhi of Kirtanananda. Samadhi means that his disciples in India are keeping his body in a cement box and they worship his dead body every day of the year, as you see in this clip. And I find this to be absolutely scandalous. People still worship and bowing down to his dead body, thinking that they will have some sort of spiritual benefits. The documentary should have used Henry Doktovsky as a consultant because they made very big mistake in describing what did happen in New Vrindavan. To begin with, the documentary starts by praising Bhaktivedanta with some of his staunch devotees. And Swami Bhaktivedanta, in my opinion, is partly responsible for all the mayhem that later on happened in New Vrindavan, because by 1968, 69, he was telling everyone in New Vrindavan that Kirtanananda was a pure devotee. In this tradition, that means that he was enlightened. He was a saint. He said, if you want to please me, serve Kirtanananda. do whatever Kirtanananda asks you to do. And since at the time Swami Bhaktivedanta was the maximum authority, the devotees of New Vrindavan had no other choice but to do whatever Kirtanananda was asking them to do. And it took full advantage by sending hundreds of his followers all over the United States to collect millions upon millions of dollars. Swami Bhaktivedanta unfortunately did not understand or did not want to see that Kirtanananda and his lover Aragriva were lifelong homosexual, and there was really no chance that they would ever change. The first part of the documentary praises Swami Bhaktivedanta as someone who was like Jesus Christ, and that was not so. Scholars that have read his book says that 80% of what he said about women was negative, stating that they were less intelligent because they had a smaller brain. He even said that women do like a man that is expert in raping them. And he's the one who translated an old Indian quote from Tulsidas stating that it's good to beat an idiot, a dog, and a woman. And that Kirtanananda took advantage of that quote, and he told many of his male disciples to beat up their wife, including the psychopath Dennis Gorick, Dharmatma, that in my opinion should have never been given a chance to speak in this documentary. In the books of Henry Rakowski, it's even described that Dennis Gorick molested babies. And in this documentary, he says, well, Kirtanananda told me to do it. And nowadays, you know, with the Me Too movement, women can say whatever they want. He's a despicable human being that did beat up his wife, black and blue, over and over and over again. And one of the major mistakes of this documentary is stating that this psychopath, this killer, Thomas Drescher, did kill Sulochan on the order of Kirtanananda. The reality is that by 1986, because he had been beaten over the head, Kirtanananda could not remember what he did 20 minutes ago. People who knew him says he was having sex with his own cat. This guy was unable to take decisions of killing this one or that one. Henry Rakowski has explained clearly in his books that there was a group of people that did take the decision to kill Sulochan to protect their guru. One of them was the lover of Kirtanananda, Arigriva, Howard Wheeler. One of them was Radhanath Richard-Slavin, who was very important in New Vrindavan in those days. And there was also a guy in Los Angeles, Rameshwar, Robert Gret, that also did plan the murder of Sulochan. And there was a few others. The responsible for this documentary should have tried to interview Radhanath and ask him some questions. They should have tried to interview Robert Grant. They're still alive and kicking, and ask them what was their involvement in this killing of Sulochan. I find it interesting that one of the person that talks highly about Swami Bhaktivedanta, William Ehrlichman, Bhagavan Das, left in 1986, right after the killing of Sulochan. This guy was a guru in Europe. He was a megalomaniac that lives in opulence, that had luxury cars, that lived in 5-star hotel when he traveled. He had about 1,000 disciples that were working for him day and night. He basically copied what was happening in New Vrindavan, sending people on the road all over Europe to collect money for his project. He demanded worship and obedience. And when he left in 1986 through the back door, he was a monk. He left with a woman and he left with as much money as he could. Some of his disciples did call me in Montreal. They were crying. They were heartbroken. They had given years and years and years of their life serving him, thinking that he was their guru, he was their ticket for enlightenment. And he was really but a heartless asshole who took off from his responsibility. Now he says, oh, I am a disciple of Swami Bhaktivedanta. And when he had the responsibility of the heart and soul of 1,000 people, because they believed in the teaching of Swami Bhaktivedanta and they wanted to increase their spiritual life by loving Bhagavan and serving Bhagavan as their guru, as they thought he was the intermediary between themselves and Swami Bhaktivedanta and the God Krishna. He just abandoned them like an old shoe. This guy was dangerous then, and as far as I'm concerned, is dangerous now. It is very unfortunate that this documentary did not talk more about the suffering of the children of New Vrindavan in those schools. There was many pedophiles on top of the pedophile that was Kirtanananda running those schools. Some of those children were sexually abused day after day, week after week, months after months. And some of them, possibly 25 of those kids, have now committed suicide because they could not live with the terrible things that was in their subconscious mind. Many others have become drug addicts, alcoholics, and this documentary could have interviewed some of the survivors of those abuse. They could have interviewed the parents of those kids that have committed suicide. I think that would have been a great service to understand more about the cult of New Vrindavan, because it was not researched properly, because they trusted some phony devotees like Bhagavan and Hridayananda. This documentary does not tell the truth of what did happen in New Vrindavan. There was some good clips, Some of it was truth, but I think they should take what is real and what is good, and they should redo the documentary using Henry Domkowski and his books as the primary consultant of what did happen in New Vrindavan. Thank you very much. Namaste.